But I know he had a great time at the Players' Championship last year. Said he wants to play in it again. You can actually see he's wearing the Players' Championship hoodie right now that he obtained thanks to playing the Players' Championship last year. And this should be fun. Excuse me. Number 7 versus number 22 here on the Season 2 leaderboard.
Yeah, and you see Eric Hawkins on the other side playing. We talked about the Obzon Company deck. Definitely a deck in his style. The kind of player who's into 2-for-1s, not so much like straight control, but the deck where you value and 2-for-1 people to death.
Well, Logan and Eric will begin things here in just a moment. Do appreciate having you guys. Cedric Phillips, Matthias Hunt, Ken Crocker on the sideboard. We are here from Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas.
A check on this matchup will be how much removal Eric has. He has 4 Obzon Charms and 3 Dromoka's commands at his disposal. And actually 2 Hidden Dragon Slayer, which really could matter in this matchup.
It actually can matter a lot. You don't see that card play a huge role in Standard at all. But the 2-1 Lifelinker could actually be pretty good here. Mize going to sacrifice a Windswept Teeth.
I believe Mize on 6 cards for this game.
Yep. Look at the Plains. Now, the interesting thing about Bant Heroic is it has good mana, but at the same time it has bad mana. It's very strange in that fashion of you have 1 island and 1 forest. You've got these 8 fetch lands to help with Treasure Cruise, but your mana is kind of being pulled in a couple different directions. It's very sensitive, even though you do have good fixing or good-ish fixing. We saw Tom Ross debut this deck, make the top 8 with it. Ross Merriam winning with this deck at the Open Series in Cleveland a couple of weeks ago. It's very powerful, and Mize off to a great start. He's 5-1.
Yeah. Interesting here, Bant Heroic, a deck that has been around for a while. I'm interested by the Obzon Company decks because these green-white Company decks are relatively new.
Yeah.
We haven't seen, I don't know if really the metagame has adapted to the deck. First of all, does it have staying power? Is it still going to be around? If it is around, what are its good matchups? What are its bad matchups? I think a lot of those questions are still open.
Hero Rose to play. Might as well pass the turn back. So Hawkins knows what he's up against right away. If he's familiar with the format, this is a Bant Heroic deck. It's a Fleece main line. It's going to be a painful one for Eric. He'll deploy that and pass the turn back. Might as well draw.
Can be tricky here. A lot of plays for Logan will put the Hero of Aerois out of range of Fleece main line.
Yep. Got a couple copies of Defiant Strike here. He's going to start with Dromoka's command.
That's big.
Yep. That's a counter and a fight, which means a target. So it's going to be a 4/4 into the red zone. Hawkins will draw. Copy a Den Protector.
And he is positioned to take a lot of damage here. He had to decide between a turn 2 Fleece main line and a turn 3 Death Mist Raptor. He went with the Lion and really got punished by Logan's play there. I think he is debating if he wants to just throw out a Den Protector or another creature as a chump blocker to gain life. It's not unreasonable, actually. Especially if he believes that the game will end before he has a chance to cast them all.
He's going to take 1 right now.
Yeah, that's just a chump blocker.
Okay. He's just going to hard cast a Den Protector and pass the turn back. Not the intended use of that card, but it might just be a chump blocker, as you did mention, or deal a Thassa the draw there for Logan.
Yeah, well, I think it's a pretty heads-up play on his side. If you recognize that, hey, my life scroll is going to go down quickly, this did gain him 3 life.
Mm-hmm. There's a Seeker of the Way and a passing of the turn. Den Protector the draw yet again here, but now Hawkins has 3 mana, so he can cast a card like Death Mist Raptor. Also has access to Obzon Charm now, too.
Yeah, he would take 2 off the Obzon Charm, but perhaps that's enough.
It might be ideal to get that heroic creature off the table.
Yeah, the good part about Death Mist Raptor is that it's unlikely that off this board that Logan can get through Death Mist Raptor without losing one of his creatures. There aren't many tricks that the Bant Heroic deck has that can do that.
Hawkins is going to take, looks like 2. There's Death Mist Raptor. I'll just take 1. Go down to 12, draw a card.
Yeah, I like the line because if he sets up a trade here and Death Mist gets in the graveyard, then that second Den Protector he has since drawn could at some point down the line get him ahead.
The single island is a pretty nice draw there for Mize. Let some cast his Ordeal of Thassa, draw some cards. Hard to dislike that. There's the island.
See if he just wants the cards. Yeah, that's exactly what it will be.
Also gets to trigger Prowess and Heroic here. So now he's going to crack that. Another counter. Peel in 2.
Yeah, if he managed to draw a God's Willing here,
yeah,
that would be huge. That gets really good.
don't believe that's the case, but don't have a great look at his hand. There's your block. It's an obvious one.
See if he burns through a Defiant Strike. You will.
Yep. Wants to get some more damage across.
Draws favored Hoplite off it.
So these two threats will trade Hero Heroes and Deathmist Raptor. A bunch of damage is going to come through. Mize is going to draw, or excuse me, he's going to draw off Defiant Strike, also going to gain some life. So.
Yeah. Believe it's a total of 5 damage, yeah.
23 to 7.
Hawkins down to 7 here. And does have a copy of Collected Company in his hand. And he'll just pass.
Yeah, I have nothing to do. Your turn.
I don't know if I believe that for a second if I'm Logan.
It's interesting because Collected Company hasn't really made its way all the way in the standard yet. Like, as you said, the company decks are new.
Yeah.
So this might just feel like, oh, okay, he's got our removal spell. This is kind of annoying. All right, I guess, you know, I'll do this, play accordingly, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, no, just 2 huge threats.
I mean, this company hits a Deathmist Raptor, for example. That's really good for Eric.
Yeah.
And we will spin the wheel here, see what he's going to get.
Take a look at the top 6. You get 2. Assuming you can find 2 that cost 3 or less. That's 1. That's 2.
Den Protector and Anafenza, not too shabby.
I wouldn't be unhappy with that.
No, like my bar is he got more than 4 mana worth of creatures there, so that's better than most 4-drops you could have cast. Like, that's probably stronger than a Siege Rhino. It's close.
It's close. Which is a weird thing to say because we're talking about Siege Rhino, but it is close.
I mean, the advantage is you have to build your deck in a certain way for this Collected Company to be strong, whereas Siege Rhino, you just have to cast Siege Rhino. You don't have to do anything else to make it good. It's just
you just have to play Abzan, which has the best cards. So
right.
Here's Defiant Strike. This is going to make a trade happen.
But that has really, while Eric is down to 6, that's really turned around the tempo of this game. Because now Eric's on parity as far as how many cards are on the board. And he's 1 mana away from playing his own Den Protector and getting back Deathmist Raptor and you know, getting this engine going.
Battlewise Hoplite's going to join the party now. Let's see what Hawkins can draw this turn. He has Jamoka's Command in hand, so we'll find out.
Yeah, only 1 green mana up. Means that he knows his removal should be pretty good right now. That said, Den Protector is not really in a spot to beat up a Battlewise Hoplite. So yeah, look, you see some number of Dramoka's Command. Does have another copy of Den Protector. Has land number 5. I believe has the Abzan Charm as well.
Yeah, his hand's actually pretty good.
Yeah, he's got a kill spell. Anywhere between 1 and 3 kill spells. And
yeah.
he has a Den Protector with a Deathmist in the yard. The big concern is that number next to his name.
Yeah, not the 22. It's the big 6.
Yep. Let's make that a 5.
Yep.
It's okay. 5 is more than 0. That means it's 4 more than you need.
Working our way down, though. And that Mana Confluence, it's over there hanging out.
Yeah, well, eventually that's just not going to be a land anymore. But maybe we could tap it once or twice.
I'm doing my Urborg check. Okay, there is 1. There is 1 in his deck. It's not in play yet, but there is 1. There's Anafenza. Bane-free is the way to be. He'll take 1 now.
I like this line in that he's taking advantage of the fact that Logan only has a green up. Also, the best way to get the surprise wins from Heroic is to just kill all their stuff the turn it comes into play. Don't let them untap with a creature, because that's how you lose.
Yep. He's down to 3 now. Because that Jamoka's Command costs 2 life, but one of the ways to not worry about your life total is just to get this game over with.
See Den Protector getting a counter off the Jamoka's Command. It was Anafenza that fought down the Battlewise Hoplite. Logan has drawn a lot of cards, but he's on the defensive right now. Now he has some life points to work with, so he can just take some hits as he builds up a board again, which is what he's going to do.
Yeah, favorite Hoplite and Battlewise Hoplite, so he is going to rebuild the board. Hawkins will untap and take a draw here. Picked up a Plains.
Abzan Charm, Den Protector, and a land in Eric's hand. At 3 life, he's got to be concerned.
Yeah, that Mana Confluence is, it's kind of scary, but drawing the land that turn, that card is less relevant as we go. And actually having a Morph out there, that's a colorless creature around a card like God's Willing. Or Center
Big.
Soul. And I think that's pretty important, too.
This next turn from Logan feels like it's going to be the important one. Eric needs to survive through that. If he can get a chance to play Den Protector and unmorph it and get back a Death Mist and still be alive, I like his chances in this game. But that is a big this next turn of Logan's is a big one.
Yeah. Anafenza looks like it's coming on in, maybe. Maybe not.
Well, it's probably safe to attack because you have your next Den Protector and you have a Death Mist in the yard. I actually like this attack more.
Okay.
Because Logan doesn't want to trade here. And Anafenza is a much better blocker than Den Protector. So if you want to just take some free damage to keep the pacing going, I like this.
Here's a morph. Leaving Abzan Charm in hand, and it's actually pretty nice to actually have the mana to cast Abzan Charm or unmorph Den Protector in this instance.
Has a colorless creature to get around God's Willing. If he can regrow something off Den Protector, it's a very good spot for Eric. Bantarok doesn't play Burn, it just has surprise combat tricks.
There's an Ordeal. Hero Trigger is good. Favorite Hoplite's a 2/3 now.
We'll see if on an attack, if Eric goes for this Abzan Charm on the Hoplite, it's going to swing.
Now it's a 3/4.
Well, he has a free block here.
Yeah, free-ish.
Right, he doesn't have to Abzan Charm now. He can block here.
Yeah.
Then if Logan goes for a trick, he can Abzan Charm response. So this is the block.
Yeah.
If he wants to Abzan Charm, he can just do that end step.
Favorite Hoplites to follow, pass the turn back, will Mize. Mize with just one card in hand.
Yeah, so it does. If he Abzan Charms now, then Hawkins can regrow the Abzan Charm next turn and have the mana to play it, which is, I think, why he's going to do it.
Yeah, he's going to Abzan Charm right now. He goes down to 2.
Yeah, but he gets the Ordeal off before it cracks. That's big. And now the Abzan Charm's in the yard, and without using Mana Confluence, he can regrow and cast Abzan Charm. He would take 1 damage to do
Yeah,
it.
he'd have to take 1. Doesn't have
It's
to
okay,
use,
he still has 1 too many.
he doesn't have to use Mana Confluence. That is true.
He has to use Lenmore Waste,
Yeah.
so it's just as bad. He's definitely pulled ahead. The question is, can he get 20 damage across without Logan getting 2?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Death Mist Raptor is going to come back. It's not impossible. It's just probably really hard.
So I wonder if he'll get, yeah, he can get back Dramoka's command. If he really wanted to be greedy, he could get back Den Protector.
Yeah, he's got to turn up the heat now.
If possible, he needs to play, I mean, he can't play around God's Willing because,
Not anymore.
no, if he'd gotten back Den Protector and left it face down, he could play around it, but now God's Willing is going to get him, and that may have been, that does give Logan an opening here.
Yeah, that's actually true. He could have gotten back Death Mist. So he unmorphs Den Protector, gets back Death Mist Raptor, and actually uses the mode that we seldomly see, which is return it face down.
Yes, I think if you return Death Mist face down, this play is actually more appealing, as strange as that sounds.
So we're going to get a little fight here.
You forget that you can do that with Death Mist Raptor.
We rarely see it happen.
But the good news is that because of the creatures he has on the board, Eric has a really fast clock, actually. I mean, this attack from Anafenza and Den Protector, that's for 9. Logan will go down to 11. Eric's next swing should be lethal.
Yep.
But he does need to dodge a God's Willing now.
I'm doing a Centered Soul check, too. He's got to dodge Aqua's Form as well.
3 form, 4 God's Willing.
That's a lot of Aqua's Form, man.
That is a lot of Aqua's Form. Normally you only see 1 of that. The draw, I believe, was Dramoka's command for Logan.
It's an interesting draw. They might actually be able to buy him another turn.
Well, he can, yeah, he can use it to put a counter, 2 counters on Hoplite, have it fight down the Death Mist, swing, then Eric will have to chump block with the Den Protector. So we'll get 2 guys off the board.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
You don't get to keep the Hoplite. He could do a lot worse.
Yeah, you can start by attacking too, maybe.
Well, yeah, I think if you want to do it, you'd attack first. Maybe Eric says no blocks. That seems really unlikely, but it's possible.
Yeah, give him the chance to say no blocks. All right, there's the obvious block.
Yep, that's the correct block as well. if you have 2 creatures that are going to have to die this turn, you'd like it if one of them was named Death Mist Raptor.
Yep.
So Eric will force that. And that is the only creature he can fight down. So yeah, he gets both of Eric's untapped creatures.
And Hawkins is 1 point short of killing Mize right now. He can attack for exactly 10. I don't know if he has any way to pump up the jam or not.
Well, he has a Collected Company in hand.
Time to search.
Right.
Nothing all that appealing to hit right now.
No, I don't believe he can company into something that will win. So he's going to have to fade Aqueous Form and / God's Willing for a second turn, which he's still odds on to do, but Hawkins has opened a small door for Logan to sneak through. God's Willing was always an out.
Yep.
Or no, sorry, rather, Aqueous Form was always an out. God's Willing, if he had a face-down card, would not be. And that situation from Hawkins is he's going to go ahead and swing, put Logan to 1. So I believe what he's doing here is he's consuming that the Collective Company will hit something. And by swinging with 2 creatures here, he's making sure that Logan's dead next turn and Logan can't go into a defensive mode and buy himself another draw.
Sure. I mean, it's risky.
Yeah, I mean, you're risking that Company misses, which Hawkins' deck has 24 hits for Collected Company. So it's going to, each card is 40% to hit. So looking at 6 cards, that's under 10% that he misses.
All right. Here it comes. Yeah, Logan crossing his fingers. All right, how we do?
There we go. Here's some creatures. Yeah, the first 3 are all creatures.
Yeah. Elvis Mystics and Fleecemane Lions and all that jazz. Does Logan have a God's Willing here? That's the question. I don't think he does, and he is going to concede the game. It was a Battle-Wise Hoplite. That was his draw step. Eric Hawkins going to win game number 1 here over Logan Mize. Obzon Company up a game over Banter Heroic, a close first game. 2-1.
Jeez, yeah. I mean, at one point we asked, can Hawkins deal 23 points of damage without taking 2? And the answer was yes, but only by a sliver.
Yeah, only by a sliver indeed. We'll take a look at the sideboards. We'll start with Logan since he'll be on the play here for game number 2. I'll let you begin.
Well, Logan's sideboard has a lot of cards that can come in, I think, against removal-heavy packages, which Hawkins really isn't. So in theory, this should be a matchup that Logan wants to play. I mean, he's playing against a creature deck. Now, it's another aggro deck. We'll look at the kind of cards he has. He has Stratus Walk, Aqueous Form, Heliod's Pilgrim, 2 more Ordeal of Heliod's. Because this is a racing matchup to a point, I like Ordeal of Heliod. Aqueous Form and Stratus Walk figure to be decent here, as well as Heliod's Pilgrim. But largely, Logan's going to stick to something close to his game 1 plan.
Let's take a look here at Eric's sideboard. I like Eric's deck. Collected Company is a nice little card. 3 Thought Seizes, a Glare of Heresy, a Master of the Unseen, 2 Self-Inflicted Wound, 2 Ultimate Price, 2 Hornet Nest, Hero's Downfall, 2 Wingman Rots, and an Elspeth Sun's Champion. He's got a lot of nice options.
Yeah, I mean, Glare of Heresy is fantastic against the Banter Heroic deck. Most of the creatures they suit up are white. Self-Inflicted Wound, that seems pretty good here as well. I can't complain about that. 2 copies of Hornet's Nest, 1 copy of Hero's Downfall. I'm on board for all of that. 2 Ultimate Price. I mean, yeah, Hawkins is prepared for this matchup.
I even want the Thought Seizes too. I think they're pretty good. They're a little bit better on the play than on the draw, but I still think they're pretty good. Now, if you're going to sideboard in all of these spells, then I think that you probably have to sideboard out the Collected Companies.
Which is tragic because it's one of the coolest parts of the deck, and I think it's absolutely correct.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how Eric does choose the sideboard. He'll be on the draw. Logan will be on the play. We'll very quickly talk about the next level library that's available at Star City Games. Not 1, but 2 books by Patrick Chapin for all school levels, paperbook and ebook. Available now. Everyone knows the innovator, and somehow he found some time to write like 2 gigantic books.
Yeah, so this is from, you've had these for some of these for a while, the Next Level Deck Building, Next Level Magic. They're now available in paperback and ebook, as you mentioned, though. Some theory from really one of Magic's foremost experts on theory for as long as the game's been around, recent Pro Tour champion.
2-time Worlds runner-up competitor, Hall of Famer. There's not much we can say about Chapin that has already been said. He is fantastic at everything Magic related. 2 books available at StarCityGames.com/nextlevel for more information as we get ready here for game number 2 between Hawkins and Mize, number 7, number 22, on our Season 2 leaderboard. It's fun to watch the players on the leaderboard do battle. Haven't seen Logan for a little while. Really, the last time we saw him was at the first Open Series event in Columbus this year, where he did make top 8 with White Blue Heroic. And Eric, I mean, a new face to the crowd, a new face to me, but someone I assume you've known for a pretty long time.
Yeah. Has been around the Minnesota Magic scene for a long time.
And this is cool, just to see someone who's just going to go for it. And, you know, kind of see what happens. I mean, there aren't words I can use to say how ludicrous a drive is for Minnesota Dallas. I mean, I love it. I truly love it.
It's spoken as though there are close drives for Minneapolis to events.
I guess that's true. I guess that's true. Well, you know, and you know, you're right about that, because a lot of people say, well, you know, the Open Series doesn't come to the West Coast much. I mean, Joe has to fly. Well, it's not close for you guys either.
I mean, you're right that Indianapolis is only 11 hours of driving. So this is longer than that. Yeah. You know, St. Louis is like 13, but that's about where it stops.
And we only get to Minneapolis about once every 2 years, I think, something like that. We don't get to go a tons. So what you're saying is we need to have an SCG Fargo? Is that what you're saying?
No one would. That would
in the dead of winter in January. What do you think?
I mean, that would be excellent. It's far. I have driven to PTQs in Fargo in the middle of winter. That's tough, man.
Perfect. So SCG Fargo, we're gonna get that scheduled for you guys in January, February of next year, and
it looks like Winnipeg too. That'll be fine.
It'll be you and Patrick on that show. I'll have that weekend off.
All right.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and get that booked. Let's go ahead and get that ready. Perfect. I hope the powers that be at Star City Games are listening right now.
I actually had my car break down on a trip to Fargo last winter. That was great. You had, yeah, it was like -30 out at the time. It was rather scary. Those are real numbers.
I'm aware, which is horrifying. How far away is Winnipeg from you?
About 6 hours.
Oh, that's actually, are there PTQs there and stuff?
There used to be. Those were, yeah, there used to be PTQs in Winnipeg. I have top 8'd a PTQ in Thunder Bay, Canada before.
I don't know where that is.
Right. That, I know. It is the north side of Lake Superior.
How far away is that from you?
It's in Ontario. That's also just like about 6 hours.
All right. Wow, Canada is closer for you than like going to India.
Yeah, Thunder Bay is closer than Chicago.
Wow, that's completely absurd. My goodness. My geography is pretty off, but that's insane.
I got blown out the first time I drove there because I didn't realize that Thunder Bay is actually in Ontario.
Okay.
So, which the entirety of Ontario is on Eastern time, even though it's like almost due north of Minneapolis.
No.
Yeah, you know how this story's going to end, right?
Oh, no.
Well, it's okay. You get a round 1 loss, but it's still okay. You can still win.
You can still win.
No, you crossed the border, and the first thing I saw was a sign me like, "You're now on the Eastern time zone." I'm like, "Oh no." Yeah, wait, that's a big problem.
That's drive faster. Please drive faster.
Well, I mean, it also looks like you're just really far away because you drive across the border, and the first thing you see is like Thunder Bay, and the number after it's like 105. I'm like, wait, hold on. And then you remember it's kilometers, and you're okay.
Okay, okay, got it.
But
got it.
Yeah,
the Canada struggle. I've never. I've been in Toronto and Montreal. That's it. For Grand Prix.
Yeah, those aren't anywhere near Minnesota.
Yeah, those are super far
away.
Yeah. Those are close-ish to Cleveland. Drove to both of those. Eric takes a mulligan. He's going to take a look at 6 cards. Logan kept his 7.
It was actually a good showing, though. I think 55 players showed up to a PTQ in Thunder Bay.
That's not bad.
I mean, considering that the only places I can drive to it, it's 7 hours from Minneapolis and 7 hours from Winnipeg and like 9 from Madison. I think it's like 12 from Sault Ste. Marie, if you know where that is.
I've never heard of that
That's
either.
Also in Canada.
Okay.
All right. That's in another part of Ontario that doesn't have much around it.
Okay.
Dan Lanthier made the trip from Ottawa to that. I think he drove up 14 or 15 hours.
Recent Grand Prix champion. I hope he won that tournament.
No, I knocked him out of the Swiss.
Nice.
He said, it was... We were both playing at 1 loss. He was like, really? And I was like, one of us is going to leave really upset from this PTQ.
Yeah, that's tough. Eric and a mulligan at 5 here. Well, I guess given that I think they said it was 20 hours?
Eric,
yeah.
This is farther. This is farther.
They're road warriors. But Eric's up a game right now, even though he's on 5 cards. We'll see what Logan put together. He'll start things off with a favorite hoplite off of Manic Influence.
Scary start. Favorite hoplite on the play is terrifying to face down. That guy wears ordeals like no one else.
It's an Elvish Mystic. And a pass. Mize will draw. He may have kept the 1-lander here. And he does have a forest. Okay. It's not so bad. Jamoka's Command. Get that
Ooh.
Elvish Mystic off the table, especially when you mulligan a 5. Yeah.
Oh, there's a chance that Hawkins kept a 1-lander.
Wouldn't surprise me. But I do see a Mana Confluence over there, so he's doing all right. That's an ultimate price. That one thing about Eric's deck is he does have like a lot of removal after sideboard, so this isn't so bad.
Yeah, he actually managed to get the creature off the board. The question is whether or not Hawkins has anything to follow up with. I mean, he's on a 5-card hand. He's trading 1-for-1 with Logan, which is dangerous, but he's on the draw. And to be fair, trading 1-for-1 with Heroic is usually pretty good because the card quality from Heroic is pretty low.
Yeah.
The synergy's high.
Yeah, though, you know, Treasure Cruises can kind of undo that, but it doesn't look like Logan has very many of those.
He has 2 in his sideboard, and I'm not sure how many of them he brings in here. I mean, Hawkins is presenting like an aggro deck. That's not normally where you board in all the Treasure Cruises.
Yeah, he played like an aggro deck game 1.
Yeah.
An aggro deck that was able to stabilize and turn the corner, but it looked more like an Obzon aggro deck that just happened to have Collected Company, which is kind of what he is, honestly.
And Hawkins is playing a bit of his own brew. He said he based this off of the GP Paris deck.
Okay.
But Sandy said the sideboard is really thrown at the wall right now. He wouldn't be surprised if it was 8 or 9 cards off. So, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't really expect my green-white aggro opponent to suddenly be ultimate pricing my things. He could be getting some surprise value out of this plan.
Looks like Mana Confluence is going to deal another point of damage here to Hawkins. And it's a Fleecemane Lion. Passing the turn back over to Mize, who will take a draw. See what Logan can put together here for his 4th turn. Got a lot of options in hand as he shuffles it around. Mana, not as much of a problem anymore. Defiant Strike in hand. God's Willing too.
Logan's deck's doing what it's supposed to do here. His hand is pretty decent. I mean, I think it's an ordeal short of being good, but it's definitely passable.
Yeah. I don't hate his hand, that's for sure.
And such a dangerous spot for Hawkins on this block. He knows if he blocks that nothing good will come of it, but the question is if he wants to trade the card anyway.
Yeah. And best case scenario here is if you get to trade your Fleecemane Lion with a God's Willing, though Logan does get to scry twice. I actually do like the block here and just making him have it. There's a God's Willing, so he will get to scry twice. One from the Heroic Trader, then one from the God's Willing.
I think he's pausing to indicate that this is the Battle-Wise Hoplite trigger, not the God's Willing one. Keeps it on top twice.
Is there a follow-up? There is.
Now, there is a second God's Willing in Logan's hand, so while Hawkins did get the first one, he still is trading his 2-mana creature with Logan's 1-mana trick. So he's getting behind on the board because he's doing that.
And these are trades that Logan is certainly willing to make, given that Eric did mulligan to 5.
These are the trades his deck's designed to make. His deck's designed to play a creature and then trade 1-mana tricks with lots of mana cards.
There's Nana Fenza. Pass that turn back.
Real big danger if Logan has an ordeal. It is so good now.
He didn't have one initially, but he drew one.
Right now, Battle-Wise Hoplite going to become a 5/5. He'll get to scry. He'll get to draw 2. That was a huge pickup for Logan.
You forgot the Prowess trigger.
Oh, he prowesses the Seeker, which he's now not going to attack with probably, but
it's got a Defiant Strike in hand and a God's Willing.
Okay, mate, you are right.
Get in there.
Yeah, everybody in. I mean, if you're Hawkins, the fact that the Seeker is swinging is horrible because you know what it means, but you don't have any plays.
Yeah, you're
like, yeah, I'm going to trade this with a trick. That sure stinks.
You're pretty stuck here. You hope he doesn't have anything, but if he didn't have anything, he wouldn't be attacking.
No, he just has something. You hope you're trading with a real card and not like that.
Yeah, Defiant Strike's going to target Battle-Wise Hoplite, which will allow Logan to scry. That also triggers Prowess, which means that Seeker of the Way is a 4/4. So there will be a trade. There will be some life gained.
Now, because Logan has played it this way and went for the additional damage, what it does mean is that if Hawkins has a kill spell, he can clean up the board.
Yes.
Because Logan doesn't have the God's Willing up. Or he does.
Now he does.
Now he does. Okay. He had the land or he hit the land off the strike?
He hit the land off of the ordeal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess if he's saying he's going to have an ordeal to crack and a Defiant Strike, it's reasonable to think that he'll hit a white land in 3 cards.
Yeah, most likely. Deck plays more white lands than anything. A couple plains, 8 fetch lands, Temple of Enlightenments, even though those enter the battlefield tapped, and of course Mana Confluence.
Yeah, he has 14 untapped white sources.
Heliod's Pilgrim, excuse me, the draw. Mize kind of in the driver's seat right now. Maybe it's time for another ordeal. Yep. That'll allow a little scry action here.
At this point, if I'm in Hawkins' spot, I just assume there's a God's Willing. That ordeal play makes little to no sense without God's Willing. Here's the swing, and game 3 is about to begin.
Yep, Logan Mize is going to win game number 2 here against Eric Hawkins. Van Heroic and Abzan Company all tied up. Hawkins did take a mulligan to 5 there. Hand did not really pan out all that well. Though him being on the draw, or excuse me, him being on the play for game number 3 will make a world of difference against the Heroic strategy, especially with all that 2-mana removal that he has.
Yeah, he was on a 5-card hand, and I think was able to trade early on. The turning point was really that ordeal of Thassa from Logan. Not only did it force Hawkins into making some really poor trades, but the card advantage was too much.
This person's going to go back to the drawing board, so we'll very quickly talk about the Star City Games IQ circuit. It certainly helped Logan qualify for the Players' Championship last year, and you get to get all of this sweet stuff as a result.
Yeah, so yeah, with the Star City Games Invitational qualifiers, we have, as you mentioned, a lot of exclusive prizes to our IQ circuit. The playmats you see here, dice bags, the creature collection pins, a top 8 pins for top 8 as well as months of Star City Games premium content.
Yeah, obviously, there are different types of IQs. We got the super IQs, we got normal IQs, elite ones, premier ones that we have at Open Series events. They scale however you want them to. All you have to do is get in touch with your store owner, who can get in touch with Star City Games' organized play to run these things. And they have been very successful, thanks to you guys playing in them, of course. Couldn't do it without you. And as a result, you know, we've got the modern one and the legacy one tomorrow here in Dallas. I know a lot of people are going to be playing in. And then there's a Super IQ Heck in Connecticut tomorrow that I know Ross, Merriam, Kevin Jones, Gerard Fabio are going to be playing in. So if you want to get these at your local store, get in touch with the store owner. They can get in touch with us. You can get cool stuff like this playmat, dice bag, creature collection pin, top 8 pins, SCG premium vouchers as well. Star City Games for more information about it. As we get ready to see Eric Hawkins do battle here against Logan Mize in game number 3. Don't expect to see the collected companies in his deck after sideboard. Just a lot of spot removal, probably a pretty good clock. Going to play more like an Abzan aggro deck.
Yeah, well, not in the sideboard because they're bad in the matchup, but more because it would interfere with the cards he needs to sideboard in.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be sideboarding into a more spell-dense deck, like actual spells, not 3-mana creatures or less. So as a result, his collected companies will whiff more often.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that you really have to be picky about your creature count with a card like a collected company. As you get much, as you start getting below 24 targets, I mean, I would say that's, once you're below 24 targets for it, that's when I start just wanting to cut all of them.
Yeah.
I think, you know, ideally I'd be playing more than 24 in a deck. But
and Eric has exactly 24.
Yep.
You know, all of his creatures are 3 or less except for the 2 Siege Rhinos. It's weird to see an Abzan deck with only 2 Siege Rhinos. You might have to talk to him about that.
I mentioned that. I said it's really jarring to look at a deck list that starts with 2 Siege Rhino and not make a face.
Might have to have a little conversation with your friend there.
So what he said is Abzan Charm, he believes, is better than Siege Rhino in this deck. And that much I can understand.
Okay.
In the fact that he does have a lot of 4-drop in Collected Company and Siege Rhino.
Okay.
That said, 2 Siege Rhino is still really weird.
He knows what Siege Rhino does, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
I just want. Look, he's 5-1. I'm not.
I agree. I'm with you.
Saying if I could play 5 Siege Rhinos, I would.
I do think it's an interesting take on the Green-White Company deck to add Abzan Charms to it, though. The card is very powerful in this strategy. Green-White could use a removal spell, and as far as removal spells go, one that also doubles as a combat trick seems really well positioned for what this deck's trying to do.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a great card, too. It's super versatile.
It's interesting. We've seen it be really good. I don't generally see players going into another color for it. You know, we don't see, which that's new territory here.
Yeah, I mean, the Black Splash is very, very light here.
It's 2 Rhinos and 4 Charms. And then I guess a large part of his sideboard actually is black.
Yeah, Ultimate Price, Self-Inflicted Wound, hanging out over Thoughtseize 2. Even at Single Hero's Downfall. Hawkins will take a look at his opening hand. He looks pretty happy. Kept pretty quick. Mize going to keep. We're underway here for game number 3. It's a Temple of Malleus to start. Top card going to go to the bottom. I'll head Mize's way.
And yeah, as we saw game 2, we didn't really get a chance to see Hawkins' entire sideboard plan, but we expect him to be on a much more controlling build here.
There's a Windswept Heath. Hawkins going to go down to 19. And there's the Fleet Spain line. So I expect to see a more controlling build. He can get a little aggressive to start.
Sure.
Play a Fleet Spain line, you play a creature, kill it, attack you for 3, kill it, attack you for 3. That kind of game. A little tempo-y.
When you remember that some of his removal are things like Dromoka's command, these early creatures are still pivotal to the game plan.
Mize going to search for planes there with his Windswept Heath. So both players were in need of a planes via Heaths. They have them. And we'll head back Mize's way for his second turn of the game. He'll take a draw. Pick up a copy of Aqueous for him. Again, remember, Logan has 3 of those this weekend in his main deck. That's a card that you sometimes see in the sideboard as a one of.
Well, I really like the Aqueous forms in the main here. I don't know how many of them I want post-board if you suspect that Hawkins is on a removal-heavy plan.
See if Mize is going to play a creature on turn 2. He's got a lot of blue cards in his hand. He has a Seeker of the way, too, but he's just going to pass the turn back. I've seen this before from Mize and Man, the 2 Florida natives. They'll typically play their creature on turn 3 with Heroic with the mana open to cast a God's Willing.
Yeah, well, I mean, the creature's really important in his hand. At the same time, you know, he really needs to respect things like Dromoka's command. Now, where he starts to lose value is what's going on right here, and then Hawkins is just going to keep curving out with creatures. And unless Logan has something like an Ordeal of Heliod, then he could just get far enough behind in the race that Hawkins will no longer have to answer Logan's creatures.
They're Seeker away with the mana open.
Well, that's good. It's not... The fact that it has lifelink will be pretty important here.
Yeah, we're going to find out if there is a God's Willing hanging out over there or not, because Hawkins is just going to keep coming.
Well, I don't think Logan can make the block God's Willing play. He just loses to a kill spell if he does that.
It's a little risky.
Yeah, my guess is he's setting up for something like Aqueous Forming Seeker, gaining life, trying to hold up protection for the Seeker of the Way while maybe trying to get an Ordeal going.
Here comes Fleet Spain line.
So Fleet Spain line by itself suggests that maybe Eric doesn't have the kill spell.
Interesting.
Yeah, it certainly is it's a hard attack to interpret, I think, from Logan's side. It certainly is a defensive posture from Hawkins, saying Deathmist Raptor is really the best blocker out here. Barring something like Aqueous Form, it'll block whatever Logan tries to assemble.
You see Logan trying to figure out exactly what's going on. You can see the God's Willing in his hand. He has it. He's just supposed to figure out if he's supposed to use it right now. He also has a Johnny's Presence, too.
It seems so unlikely that he can go for that block. He's just going to have to take 3. And Logan, I think, a shrug and the same decision.
Yeah, you saw the shrug. He said, all right, I'll take it. I'll take a draw step now.
Now, will he go for something like an Ordeal? I mean, this is actually a pretty interesting move from Eric. He's trying to overload Logan's God's Willing by having this Death Touch blocker. As it is, Aqueous Form does help get around it.
Part of the reason he's playing a bunch of this card this weekend.
Looks like Hawkins does have a copy of both Abzan Charm and Ultimate Price in his hand.
Hawkins going to sacrifice his Windswept Heath. There's a forest. Let's see what's next here for Eric. He can go with the Charm or he can go with the Price here.
Right, so he can play one of the 2 kill spells, and the God's Willing will protect it from that. So he could still set up that means that on the untap, he'll be able to use the other kill spell. However, by using the Ultimate Price here, he's actually not going to be able to Abzan Charm the Seeker on the untap.
A Johnny's Presence does a nice job. It's going to force you some more damage. Trigger Prowess, of course, which was already triggered from the Aqueous Form. So some lifelink action here.
Yeah, it's going to be a 5/5 this turn. It'll really swing the life totals back.
Mize deciding on the scry here still from Aqueous Form. Looks like he's happy enough. So life totals will swing, as you did mention. And now it's interesting because it feels like maybe Hawkins missed out on some damage with Death Miss Raptor. That's not technically true.
Yeah, Aqueous Form was the one card that would do that. That's in there. You have to ask just how much does that damage matter?
Yeah. Hawkins will draw. Mize assuming no Bile Blights around here in this Abzan Company deck, and that is true. 0 copies in the 75 for Hawkins. There's an attack.
So that'll keep the life totals close. But no main phase plays from Hawkins means Logan gets to untap with all his mana again. Now 2 prowess creatures. That's a dangerous spot.
Feels risky.
Oh, I don't know if Hawkins has another line here. He may just have some lands and an Abzan Charm.
Yeah. I mean, he can't cast Abzan Charm right now.
Yeah, if he'd gone for Abzan Charm last turn, then he would have been able to price away the Aqueous Form Seeker.
Oh boy, another Aqueous Form. Yikes.
Yeah, and if you look at Logan's remaining cards, they're in Ordeal of Thassa and a God's Willing.
Maybe that's why he's playing 3 of these. And it truthfully might be the best way to go for heroic decks against Death Miss Raptor, and Death Miss Raptor is so popular. Actually starting to make a little sense now that I actually see it in action of why he would play so many of this card.
Well, Hawkins will go for the Abzan Charm, but it's going to be a God's Willing to save his creature. So that's 3 heroic triggers on each Seeker plus the Ordeal. This is going to be 11 damage. It's going to put Hawkins down to 1.
This is a horrible position.
And it's all lifelink, so
yeah.
Logan will go to 23.
And this is fascinating to me to watch. You know, Logan's going to resolve the Scry with the God's Willing. Now he's going to get the Scry a bunch with these Aqueous Forms as well. He'll get a counter from Ordeal of Thassa so long as he does remember. But what's fascinating about this is, you know, when I originally saw the deck list and saw 3 copies of Aqueous Form, it seemed a little strange to me. It makes so much more sense now. Death Miss Raptor is everywhere in this format, and it's a hard card for heroic decks to get through, and not so much anymore.
23 and 1 now, the life totals.
I don't even know what he can draw.
You would need more than 1 kill spell.
He's got knobs on Charm in hand. That's going to kill that. He hasn't even looked at his other card. This is great. That's not going to do it.
I believe it was Warden of the First Tree.
Yep. Logan Mize is going to win this game and match against Eric Hawkins. 2 games to 1. Bant Heroic will take care of Abzan Company. Number 7 on our Season 2 leaderboard is up to 6-1.
And you see, even at the end there, Hawkins has a chance if he peels another kill spell to get back in that.